You ready to game? Because I'm ready to game. This is the Bebon Cool Bluetooth telescopic controller for your iPad, iPhone, Samsung, HTC, Android, all of the things. So I've seen something similar to this before. I've seen devices that have items like this already built into them, and I've seen things like the Moga gamepad that was much, much smaller, but this is supposed to work with things even as large as, like I said, an iPad. So I'm very interested to see how this works with something like my NVIDIA Shield tablet. They also mentioned that it's excellent for things like Gear VR, virtual reality applications where you need just a Bluetooth controller, because in addition to being a telescopic controller, you can use it as just a Bluetooth controller. So maybe we'll try this thing out a few different ways. But digging into the box, pretty much everything is going to be exposed from the get-go, but you do have a micro USB cable, a user manual, and it mentions here it's a Bluetooth 2.1 version, but it also works with 3.0 and 4.0. It has a built-in 350 milliamp hour rechargeable battery, which lasts 4 to 8 hours of continuous play. Sounds good. There's also instructions and everything on here. I'll make sure to read through that before I actually try anything, and a whole list of recommended games and everything. Feel free to stop and take a look at that if you're interested. But here is the controller. Has a little dummy inside of it. There's a Bebon Cool guarantee. Totally cool or your money back, right? Refund and replacement policy. Quality control tag and a reviewer program. Actually pretty standard stuff nowadays. But there's the controller. And it extends out really, really far. If you can see that, that's how far out it extends. That's significant. You've got a little flip down piece here so you can rest your tablet on it or your phone or whatever you want to put in here. Here on the back there appears to be a little locking mechanism so you can kind of put it where you want it and then lock it in place. Yeah, once I put it in there, only this other side will move. This side locks, so that gets the job done. Looking at the controls here on the left side, you have a stick, an analog stick, turbo, select, and home buttons, lights for gamepad and media, and your D-pad. On the other side, another analog stick, a couple of lights up here, one for charging, auto, start, and mode, and then B, A, X, and Y. And of course you have 4 triggers, L1, L2, R1, R2. Seems to hit the nail on the head as far as having all of the buttons you should ever need. And the analog sticks do also push in if you've got games that require that. But I will say, just very first impressions, this feels excellent in the hand. It doesn't feel heavy at all, but it feels solid. Like squeezing on it, it feels good. It feels like a controller should. Let me go ahead and stick the Shield tablet in there and see what it feels like. So we flip this down, put the Shield tablet in place, pull it out. It seems to be in there pretty solidly. There we go, locked it in place and then put the tablet in. It's a little bit easier. This definitely gets a little bit large, a little bit unwieldy, but I wouldn't call it uncomfortable by any stretch. And everything feels pretty secure in there. I mean, if I start pulling on it, obviously it's gonna come out. Although no, there's actually a little bit of a raised lip there, so it's kind of holding it in place. That is awesome. And of course, one little thing that I did forget, one thing I missed, there's a micro USB port right here, so if you do need to charge it, when you need to charge it inevitably, it's at the bottom of the left-hand side. It kind of throws me off that this is not in the center of the device, but I would assume if you're using a smaller device, it would be. I know there's a lot of people out there that are kind of OCD that are going to be really upset by that. Ooh, there's even a reset button in case you need it back here on the back. But how does it work? It says for gamepad mode for Android 3.2 and up, long press the home key for 5 to 6 seconds, then it's waiting to connect. Turn on Bluetooth on your device, and you find it. Cool. So we're gonna long press the home button here. Yeah, it apparently needs to be charged up. So let me go ahead and do that and we'll be back with you in a little bit. And we are back. I've gone ahead and charged this up and charged up the tablet and everything. So the home key is right here. We're gonna long press it. And now the gamepad light is flashing. So we'll come in here, we'll go into Bluetooth. I did not hold it long enough apparently. And there it is at the top of the list, STK7003X. And it says we are connected. So let's see. I hit the B button, it went back. And I'm guessing this is probably going to work a little bit better on this device because it's the Shield. It's sort of intended to be used with a gamepad. So yeah, the right stick is working as a mouse. The left stick is just doing selection. That's very cool. Let's try it out in Doom 3 BFG edition. All right, I'm able to move around with the sticks. That's good. I've never played this, so I don't know what to expect. While I'm waiting, I will say this does feel very comfortable in the hand. It's got a big enough size and a lot of grippy rubberized texture on the sides. The D-pad over here is a little bit odd because they're not separate buttons. When you move one, they all kind of move, if you can see that. Not a big deal, just thought I'd mention that. Whereas the buttons over here are all separate buttons. Oh, looks like it's my turn to move now. And the sticks are working quite nicely. Let's see, let's try to jump. I can jump. Press Y to interact. So apparently the gamepad mapping on this is working just fine. Let's interact. Yep. Plays very nicely. Yeah, this is smooth so far. So yeah, I don't want to spend a huge amount of time playing this, but so far the controls are pretty nice. It seems to map pretty well to the controller. I mean, obviously a large part of that is because it is a Shield exclusive and it does have the gamepad mapping built into it, including all this gamepad mapper. Again, this is all Shield exclusive stuff, but you can always use this as a part of the gameplay. So if you've got a game that doesn't work with it, with the Shield, you can do that. It's definitely been a while since I've taken a look at Minecraft Pocket Edition, but it works with this too. Now, for whatever reason, this left stick is not actually used for moving. You use the arrows here, but you see forward, back, left, and right, so that does work. And it looks like if you push in certain directions, so yeah, pushing down drops things. So that's a thing. But you know, if you're using the arrows here, you can hit A to jump, you can hit B to crouch. Y will open up your inventory. X opens up your character information. Feels a little bit odd to be doing it this way instead. You'd think that the up and down like this would, yeah, it feels like this is backwards. There's probably a way to remap that. But you use the right trigger here to interact with things, left trigger to place things. And see, I just broke that. And you can switch what item you've got in your hand by using the bumper buttons here. So really, you've got pretty much everything covered here. Just this one thing feels backward. I will say, of all the controllers that I've used, of all the times I've played Minecraft PE, this does feel like the most natural way to do it, except being on PC, obviously. If I had to guess, some of the updates and improvements here have probably come with a more recent version of Minecraft that I just haven't touched in a while. This is definitely very straightforward, getting the job done. It's a little awkward to have two separate sticks for things, but it also does auto jumping, so if you're just going up a one block gap or anything, yeah, there you go. Don't have to push any buttons, just let it happen. So yeah, definitely not bad. So I've been using this thing off and on for the past few days, primarily with the NVIDIA Shield tablet, and I gotta say, I'm a big fan of it so far. I've used external controllers with the Shield tablet in the past. NVIDIA has an excellent controller for it, but that does sort of separate you from the experience. You have to have a way to actually set the tablet up on something, and then if you want to move around or anything, you sort of can't. You know, you're two separate devices. With this, everything's all in one, makes it kind of nice and kind of easier. The one thing I didn't really get a chance to test this out with that I would kind of like to is Gear VR, or just VR in general, because there's a lot of VR applications where the included headset doesn't have a button of any kind on it, so having a Bluetooth controller where you can basically have your VR headset on and then have all your controls just right like this would probably be very, very useful. But all in all, to go ahead and wrap this up, for 40 bucks to get a controller that works as well as this appears to work and is as flexible as this appears to be, because as I said previously, you're able to use this with a really large device. Maybe not an iPad 12-inch, but any other smaller iPads, and of course tablets, and maybe even phone, because it does shrink down to be kind of small as well. For 40 bucks to get something like that, if you're looking for a good Bluetooth controller, this is definitely a good place to start. And furthermore, the company actually said they were going to send out some coupon codes to me to give 30% off of this. So instead of $40 for it, you would end up paying like $28, which makes it even more reasonable. So if I've got those codes, I'll make sure to put them down in the video description, but make sure to check this out over on Amazon. It's definitely an awesome little controller. Remember though, if you like this video, leave a thumbs up down below, subscribe to receive more videos when they become available, and I will see you again next time. Now back to gaming.